Afternoon. Here's what's making news this Tuesday, the 15th of April. A body discovered and the homicide squad called in after a suspicious house fire west of Brisbane. A major investigation in southwest Sydney. A grandmother killed as her home is targeted in a drive-by shooting. The man charged with the murder of Ballarat mother Samantha Murphy taken by police to where she was last seen alive. Anthony Albanese tries to shore up regional seats as Peter Dutton and his son again appeal to first home buyers. We're at the halfway point of the election campaign. A man's body pulled from Sydney Harbour after he accidentally ran over his wife while trying to park on the water's edge. And it's a woman's world. Katy Perry and Blue Origin's star-studded all-female crew return to Earth after their history-making flight.
This is 10 News First Afternoon with Lachlan Kennedy.
Good afternoon. We begin in Queensland, where a body has been found at the scene of a suspicious house fire. Let's go live to Jade Richards. Jade, what is the latest in this unfolding investigation?
Lachlan, police are right now speaking with a 45-year-old man who was found almost 200 kilometres from the scene of the fire. The man was located at an address in Redcliffe a short time ago and is currently assisting police with their inquiries. This comes after a deadly fire around 3 this morning in Geum, which is in Toowoomba. By the time firefighters arrived at the scene, the house was engulfed in flames and it took an hour to extinguish. That's when a tragic discovery was made. Human remains inside what was left of the home. Police working on this case have revealed a family, including 2 young children, live at the property. The children have been found safe and well, but it's understood one of them, a boy, had to be assessed by paramedics after the fire.
What we do know is that we have one person that's been located. We know that we have 2 children that were residing at the residence. I can say that those children are safe and well and are accounted for, but our investigations now are focusing on not only who resides there, but could there have been any other people at that residence.
Police are yet to formally identify the body found in the home. A crime scene has been declared at the property and a full forensic examination will be carried out to determine the cause of the blaze.
Jade Richards, thank you very much. A grandmother has been killed in a drive-by shooting in Sydney's south. She has now been identified and police believe it was targeted. Hannah Taylor has the details.
Kim Duncan died on the floor of her Ambervale home after multiple bullets were unleashed here on Dickens Road. The 65-year-old was shot in the leg and despite the best efforts of police and paramedics, she died at the scene. All of this unfolding in front of her 34-year-old son, Shane Dowd, and a 21-year-old woman we understand to be his partner. Police are now searching for 3 people believed to have taken off in a dark-coloured sedan at around 11 o'clock last night.
It's abhorrent. Somebody coming up to a house and putting shots off is totally reckless and the consequences are catastrophic.
So around 10:30, quarter to 11, I was laying in bed and heard gunshots. There was about 5 shots fired. So I come running out of the house and seen police coming from every direction.
Police say the residents are known to them and have only been living here for a couple of months or so. Detectives still trying to work out why this home was targeted.
Hannah Taylor with that report. The man accused of killing Ballarat mother of 3, Samantha Murphy, has reportedly been taken to the place she was last seen alive. The Herald Sun newspaper reports Patrick Oren Stevenson was removed from prison and escorted under heavy police guard to the bushland area. Abby Dinham has more.
Late last year, 23-year-old Patrick Oren Stevenson was reportedly taken from prison to bushland near Ballarat as police continue the exhaustive search for Samantha Murphy's remains. Mr Stevenson has pleaded not guilty to the 51-year-old mother's murder and it is not suggested he knows the whereabouts of her remains. Searchers in the days that followed Ms Murphy's disappearance on February 4 failed to uncover any trace until a targeted search uncovered her mobile phone in a dam south of Ballarat. A retired homicide detective has told 10 News First it's an unusual move for police to take Mr Stevenson into the bush during an ongoing investigation Stephenson, but it could mean the case is moving forward.
I take it as being a positive sign, one way or the other, either continuing to prove his innocence. It could work both ways. So, it's not about anyone speculating about what he may or may not tell the police. It might well be to assist him in his defence case.
He says the move would have required special permission from Senior Police Chiefs, Corrections Victoria and the cooperation of the suspect. Mr Stephenson is expected to face trial later this year.
Abby Dinham there. The first all-female space crew is safely back on Earth after rocketing to the edge of the atmosphere with Jeff Bezos's space tourism company, Blue Origin. It was only about 10 minutes between liftoff and touchdown, but that was enough time for pop star Katy Perry to tease the set list for her upcoming tour and show off a daisy she brought on board as a nod to her daughter. The singer kissing the ground after safely landing back in West Texas.
I mean, it is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, trust, and this whole journey is not just about going to space. It's the training, it's the team, it's the whole thing. I couldn't recommend this experience more.
Joining her on the brief flight was Bezos's fiancée and journalist Lauren Sanchez, former astronaut turned women's rights activist Amanda Wynne, and our CBS News colleague Gail King, who said she couldn't believe what she saw. Now to a developing story this afternoon, and the Russian military has reportedly made a request to base several long-range military aircraft in Indonesia, just 1,300 kilometres away from Australia's mainland. If approved, the Russian Aerospace Forces aircraft would operate out of the Manwai Air Force Base in the province of Papua.
We don't share any values with President Putin, and we do not want a military presence from Russia in our region, which would be destabilising for Southeast Asia, and it would certainly be a very different calculation for the risks that are posed to our country.
Indonesian officials have yet to formally respond to the requests. 18 days down, 18 days to go. The federal election campaign is at the halfway mark. Today, the Prime Minister has been selling his health and housing policies across 2 states, and our political reporter Matthew Carstunen has more from Melbourne.
The Prime Minister has described this election campaign as like climbing a mountain, and today marks the halfway point. The summit, of course, being the May 3rd polling day. But of course, with Anzac Day and the Easter holidays, time to cut through to voters is running out. This afternoon, the PM toured newly built homes in the Melbourne suburb of Reservoir, which is in the seat of Cooper, which is a very safe Labor seat.
They're under Labor. There will be more homes and smaller deposits. Under Peter Dutton, there'll be fewer homes and higher prices.
For a second day, Anthony Albanese was selling his $10 billion housing policy, promising 100,000 new homes to be built just for first home buyers at a 5% deposit for all Australians, with the rest of the guarantee to be backed by the federal government.
We want more people to be able to own their own home through Help to Buy and through the initiatives that we announced on Sunday. This will make an enormous difference. It is already making a difference.
The PM was also pressed on why he believes the policy won't push up house prices despite criticism from economists.
If you're not going to release the Treasury modelling, and maybe this is one for Katy.
Well, we don't release any.
So the question
is,
that's
not what we do.
If we're not going to get to see the Treasury modelling, can you give us a better idea of what the price impacts were that were discussed?
We don't release cabinet documents.
Before that, the Prime Minister was campaigning this morning in Tasmania.
Whether you're an invalid pensioner or a billionaire, you get the health care you need when you need it because you're Australian. That's Australian values.
Visiting an urgent care clinic outside Hobart.
How many patients have been through the UCC here?
3,833.
Exactly.
Exactly. I did.
In the marginal Labor seat of Lyons, held by the ALP by a wafer-thin 0.9%.
How confident are you that Labor will hold on and maybe even gain other seats in Tasmania?
Well, Rebecca White is a fantastic candidate. And I must say as well, Jess in Lonnie in Bass is a great candidate. It's running a big campaign. There's a reason why we launched our Medicare policy there in Launceston. And Anne Urquhart has been serving the people of the Northwest and the West Coast for more than a decade now. She is an amazing candidate, and that's why she's taking a big punt on moving from the Senate down to the House of Representatives.
Standing by, Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek after that awkward air kiss at the Labor launch on Sunday in Perth, confirming if he wins the election, the Sydney MP would remain as a senior cabinet minister.
We're the most united team I've seen in my time.
And in a sign that even our leaders are starting to feel the fatigue from the campaign, the Prime Minister strayed a little from the usual political topics, the PM revealing what he'll be doing after the election on May 4.
I don't know what I'll be doing on May 4th, as I've said, I think yesterday. I know, hopefully, I have a bit of a tradition of watching a Star Wars movie on May the 4th because I quite appreciate the sense of history there.
The next challenge for both leaders will be the Leaders' Debate, the second one, which is again being held in Western Sydney tomorrow night. Anthony Albanese hoping to make it his second win in a row.
Matthew Castunin with that report. The Coalition has also been spruiking its housing policies today. And after his son spoke about the struggles of saving for a house deposit, Opposition Leader Peter Dutton has confirmed he will help his kids get a foot on the property ladder at some stage, he says. Chloe Burris has more.
All roads lead to marginal outer Melbourne seats on the Liberal campaign bus today, and inevitably the petrol pump. Peter Dutton filling up a truck here at an engineering road construction business in the seat of McEwen. Earlier in the day, Peter Dutton went to a new home development to sell his plan, allowing first home buyers to claim a tax deduction on mortgage interest payments. His housing spokesperson, Michael Sukkot, says he wants wages to rise faster than house prices. Peter Dutton says he wants both to go up, but didn't specifically back in Mr Sukkot's comments. He did confirm, though, that he'll help his kids out with a home deposit.
I think our households are no different to many households where we want our kids to work hard, to save, and we'll help them with the deposit at some stage. But in many families, in a lot of most families across the country, they haven't got that luxury.
Peter Dutton also made another stop to another servo spruiking his cut to the fuel excise, but another motorist filling up wanted to talk about his struggles with the NDIS and management of his stepdaughter's plan.
I reckon 18 grand got spent on doing reports, and then NDIS don't read the reports. How can they give an honest plan when it's rolled over?
No, spot on, mate, spot on.
The opposition leader may be able to count on his vote, but he is behind in the polls, and we're now at the halfway mark.
Chloe Burris reporting from the Coalition camp. Now, police divers have recovered the body of an 86-year-old man after his car plunged into Sydney Harbour last night. Our reporter Samara Gardner has this report from the scene.
The body of an 86-year-old grandfather has been found after his car plunged into Sydney Harbour yesterday afternoon. This incident happened at about 4:15 when that man's vehicle accelerated through the car park at a sailing club here at Greenwich. It collided with a woman believed to be the man's wife and pushed her into the water before the vehicle also went in. Now, that 74-year-old woman, bystanders were very quick to jump to her aid and pulled her to safety. However, it took some time for emergency services to locate the vehicle involved. It is said to have gone into a very deep part of Sydney Harbour.
They were a husband and wife and have been coming here every day fishing for a number of years, both a retired couple, so it's quite a distressing incident and quite tragic.
Now, there's still a police operation underway here today as police work out how to recover that vehicle.
We can't really float it out because it could float off in the Parramatta River and cause a maritime obstruction. So we are seeking a large crane to come and extricate the vehicle from the water.
Meanwhile, the 74-year-old woman who was injured in this incident, she remains in hospital with a suspected broken ankle.
Samara Gardner there with the latest on that very sad story. Now, don't think about the calories, but as we head towards Easter, imagine how many chocolate eggs you could buy for $70 million. That's how much is up for grabs in tonight's Oz Lotto draw, the second largest jackpot this year. If you're thinking about a flutter, entries close at 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, but the odds of winning the top prize with a single game, 1 in 62.8 million. Coming up, residents in Southern California told to seek shelter as an earthquake rattles the region. Also ahead, Donald Trump appears willing to defy the US Constitution and deport American criminals. Plus, the latest on ceasefire efforts that could see an end to the war in Gaza. And why an iconic Aussie product could be pulled from shelves in Canada.
Rental returns. Flexible living options with up to 12 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms and 3 media rooms. That gives you potential for amazing rental returns. See the duplex range at Allcastle Homes.
Welcome back. Residents of Southern California received emergency warnings to find shelter this morning, moments before an earthquake struck the region. The 5.2 magnitude quake centred on San Diego County near the mountain town of Julian. Our CBS colleague Jeff Nguyen has more.
Walk through the town of Julian and you will notice most of the buildings here are made of wood, which is why people around here say when the quake hit, the shaking felt amplified. Ashley Pinnock's cat went flying off the couch. A split second before she grabbed her baby Michael from his playpen to run outside as her home shook Monday morning in eastern San Diego County.
I heard it first, and then when I heard it, I felt it. And when I felt it, I was like, I have to get the baby.
The mother of 4 and her husband Andrew were home with Michael while their other kids were at school. They say their home, which was built in the 1960s, mostly made of wood, added to the sensory overload.
We have a large beam that runs through the center of our house, and I heard a cracking noise. And so my first instinct was to get out because I didn't want to be underneath that beam.
To be able to feel something like of that nature and that power is terrifying for me. I mean, I'm a 6'3" guy, and nothing really scares me that much. But to hear the entire earth, rumble like that.
The 5.2 quake also rattled Mountain Spirits liquor store in the town of Julian. Dylan Carnero recorded video of the mess it created. Fortunately, he was in a back room instead of his normal breakfast spot.
I probably would have been hit by like 3 heavy 750s for sure.
He believes he lost about $500 of merchandise.
It was just straight up the aggressive shaking in total, the bottles, and then my heart even a little bit. Obviously it was scary.
When the quake hit here, Andrew and Ashley got alerts on their phones after the shaking, so they're having new conversations about preparing for a big quake.
When you live in an old house and you see the modern houses, they're made to withstand and deal with a lot of that stuff. So I'm not sure if this one is.
Experts say the best thing to do during a quake is to drop, cover, and hold. You don't want to run outside because of the possibility that something might fall on you.
Jeff Nguyen reporting there. Staying in the States, and President Donald Trump has embraced the idea of sending naturalised US citizens to foreign prisons during his discussions with El Salvador's president. Trump praising President Nayib Bukele for holding migrants who have been deported from the States in a notorious prison. Before their official meeting, Trump was heard suggesting US citizens could also be sent to these prisons on a live stream that was posted by Bukele's office.
Homegrown criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next. The homegrowns. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah, that's fair. All right.
President Trump later told reporters he was studying the laws around sending American criminals overseas, a move legal experts say would be unconstitutional. To the Middle East, and Hamas says it is prepared to release all Israeli hostages in exchange for a serious prisoner swap and a permanent end to the war in Gaza. Representatives from both groups have met in Cairo, joining mediators from Egypt and Qatar, who are working with the United States on the latest proposal. Negotiations have stalled, though, as Hamas is refusing to disarm, a key condition Israel has set for ending the war. For many expats, it is the taste of home, but a new ruling could see Vegemite pulled from Canadian shelves. An Australian-owned cafe in Toronto has been proudly serving Vegemite for more than 5 years. But now Canadian food regulators say the spread is non-compliant with their health regulations due to its added vitamins. They've ordered the owner take Vegemite off the menu and destroy over $8,000 worth of the product.
There's been a lot of disappointed Australians and Canadians and others that come to our shop. These vitamins, they're not bad for you. They're in Canadian wheat-enriched flours. They're in your bread. They're in your cereals. And I've spoken to the Australian Trade Commission and I've spoken to a bunch of Australians, and we're going to try our best to push back and do what's right and make sure that we can just sell our bloody Vegemite, you know?
In a confusing twist, though, Vegemite and comparable products such as Marmite are still permitted to be sold in Canadian specialty stores and online. So it does remain unclear why this cafe has been singled out by the ruling, with the health regulator confirming the spread is not explicitly banned in Canada, nor should it be. It's great. Up next, a look at the weather for you with an Easter cyclone on the cards. But first, here's what else is coming up in your local 10 News First at 5.
Making news in Sydney, the hunt for a gunman continues after a grandmother was shot and killed inside her Ambervale home. A man's body has been pulled from the Parramatta River after his car plunged into the water. The Star Casino lays its cards on the table. Just how deep does the debt go, and why the PM's backing a Canadian shopkeeper over a jar of Vegemite? I'll explain at 5.
Every day, every night, amazing.
Amazing what a little snooze can do.
Oh, that was a nice shot, wasn't it? Perfect for our introduction to weather. So let's bring in meteorologist Josh Holt. Josh, that was nice. You impressed?
Yeah, the sun's shining through the studio. We love it, Lot.
But we could be seeing an Easter cyclone.
Yeah, not such great news if you live on the northwest of WA, because that's right. During the Easter break, we could see a cyclone form up. Let's take a look at the situation right now. You can see the abundance of cloud cover here associated with the tropical low which has formed. Now, this tropical low is forecast to get stronger over the coming days and then do a bit of a U-turn back towards the northwest coast over the Easter break. Now, there is a possibility it could even get up to a severe Category 3 system. If that is the case, it will be the 8th severe tropical cyclone we have seen during the season so far. So very late in the season to see a cyclone of this magnitude as well. We can see some showers moving in over southeast Queensland overnight and into this morning. Likewise for areas of Sydney, with the city itself picking up around about 10 millimetres into the gauge. Other areas remaining dry, especially across our southern states. Quite warm, though, across South Australia and Victoria. Bit of heat ahead of this trough of low pressure. Now, tomorrow, most of the rain will be confined to the northern areas of the country. Our southern states looking pretty good. Mostly sunny for Perth. Adelaide, warm, 32. 22, partly cloudy for Melbourne. Probably the wettest capital city tomorrow will be Sydney with showers in 23. And those showers will start to ease for Brisbane. Mostly sunny with 27. But all the local weather details coming up at 5.
The sun is always shining on you, my friend.
Well,
indeed.
sometimes.
That is the news for now. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Previously on Neighbours.